Hello, ladies, and welcome to the channel. The loneliest people are the ones who make it on their own. Unknown. In a world that thrives on connections and validation, Sigma females live by a different code. Solitude is their sanctuary. They move in silence, embracing a life where nobody is needed to complete them. But why do they choose this path? And why does it seem like nobody ever truly sticks around? It's not because they're misunderstood rebels or cold-hearted souls. It's because the world isn't built for those who thrive in isolation. What lies beneath this seemingly impenetrable surface is both fascinating and unnerving, and it's time to uncover the brutal truth behind why Sigma females have nobody in their lives. Prepare to dive deep into a reality few can handle. Number 1. They don't need friends. Sigma females don't crave friendship the way most people do because they've mastered the art of being completely content in their own company. It's not arrogance or detachment. It's a deep understanding that they don't need others to define their worth or happiness. For them, friendships can sometimes feel like distractions, social obligations that drain energy rather than add value. They don't feel the constant pressure to fit in or keep up with superficial connections, which frees them from the exhausting cycle of maintaining relationships for the sake of appearances. When they do engage with people, it's out of genuine interest, not necessity. They aren't the type to seek validation through others, nor are they concerned with being part of a social group. If anything, they find more satisfaction in solitude, where they can think, plan, and evolve without external influences cluttering their mind. Their independence runs so deep that the idea of needing friends feels like a step backwards, a reliance on others that compromises their personal freedom. This mindset isn't something that most people can understand, which is exactly why Sigma females often find themselves alone and perfectly fine with it. Number 2. They are cautious of people who get too close, too quick. When someone tries to get close to a Sigma female too quickly, alarms go off in her head. She's not the type to jump into friendships or relationships without careful consideration, and anyone who rushes the process instantly raises suspicion. To her, genuine connections take time to build, and anyone trying to fast-track that is either hiding something or desperate for validation. Sigma females can't stand superficial bonds, and they don't trust people who want to skip the natural stages of getting to know each other. Their guarded nature isn't about being cold or distant. It's about self-preservation. They've likely seen the ugly side of people too many times to blindly trust anyone. So, when someone tries to push past those boundaries without earning their trust, it's a major red flag. Instead of letting people in just to fill space, they prefer to wait, watch, and assess. If someone's intentions don't align with their values or seem off, they'll cut ties before things even begin. This cautious approach often leaves them alone, but it also saves them from unnecessary drama and heartbreak. For a Sigma female, being selective about who enters her life is the ultimate form of control over her own peace. Number 3. Their private nature is intimidating. A Sigma female's private nature can be downright intimidating to most people. She keeps her thoughts, plans, and emotions under lock and key, not out of fear, but because she values her inner world more than anyone else's approval. This makes her a bit of a mystery, and let's be real. Most people don't know how to deal with what they can't easily figure out. There's an unsettling power in her silence. While others are quick to spill their personal details, hoping to connect, the Sigma sits back, listening, observing, and offering very little in return. She's not playing hard to get. She genuinely doesn't feel the need to overshare. That air of mystery can push people away. They might mistake her privacy for arrogance or think she's hiding something. In reality, she's just protecting her peace. Most people thrive on openness and the illusion of closeness that comes from it. They want to know everything about everyone, but for a Sigma, privacy is her safe haven. The more she guards her personal life, the more unreachable she seems, and that scares people off. Few are willing to put in the effort to truly understand her, and most don't have the patience to stick around. It's easier to label her as distant or unapproachable than to recognize that she's simply protecting her energy. And in a world that constantly demands access, Her decision to keep parts of herself off limits makes her stand out and alone. Number 4. Even your own family may not have your best interests in mind. Even family isn't exempt from a Sigma female's scrutiny. She's well aware that just because someone shares the same blood doesn't mean they automatically have her best interests at heart. She's seen how family dynamics can be just as toxic as any other relationship, and she's not the type to turn a blind eye to it. If she senses manipulation, jealousy, or any kind of emotional games, she'll distance herself without a second thought. Loyalty to her isn't based on titles like brother or mother. It's based on trust, respect, and mutual support. If those are missing, even family doesn't get a free pass. This harsh truth means that a Sigma female often walks away from family situations that others might tolerate for the sake of tradition or guilt. She refuses to let herself be guilted into maintaining connections that only drain her. While most people would put up with toxic behavior because family is family, the Sigma sees things clearly. If a relationship is harmful, it doesn't belong in her life, no matter who it is. This mindset leaves her with a much smaller circle, and often alienates her from family members who can't understand why she's so distant. But for her, peace and self-respect will always come before maintaining any relationship out of obligation. Number 5. They aren't desperate for company. A Sigma female isn't desperate for company. While many people constantly crave social interaction to avoid loneliness or boredom, she finds peace in her own solitude. She doesn't seek out companionship just to fill the silence, because for her, silence is golden. The absence of people is not something she fears, it's something she treasures. Her alone time is where she recharges, reflects, and refines her goals. If anything, too much socializing feels like a burden. Small talk and shallow connections drain her energy rather than feed it. This doesn't mean she's antisocial or incapable of forming meaningful bonds. On the contrary, she values relationships deeply, but she doesn't need them to feel whole. The idea of spending time with someone just to avoid being alone feels like a waste of time for her. She doesn't need the constant presence of others to validate her existence. And that level of self-sufficiency can be unsettling to those who rely on social circles to feel connected. While many people would feel uneasy without regular interaction, a Sigma female thrives in the quiet. She's selective about who gets access to her time and energy, and she's perfectly content when no one fits the bill. Number 6. They avoid drama at all costs. Sigma females avoid drama like it's poison, because for them, it is. Drama is chaotic, draining, and ultimately pointless, and a Sigma has no interest in getting tangled up in someone else's emotional mess. The moment she senses even a hint of unnecessary conflict or petty behavior, she's out. There's no second-guessing, no trying to fix the situation. She simply cuts ties and moves on. It's not that she can't handle confrontation. She just knows it's a waste of her time and energy. She has bigger things to focus on, and getting sucked into other people's problems or theatrics isn't on her agenda. What people often don't realize is that the Sigma's avoidance of drama isn't about fear of conflict, it's about control. She's in control of her life, her emotions, and her environment, and letting drama disrupt that balance isn't an option. Drama thrives on chaos, but a Sigma operates on calm and clarity. She refuses to entertain the noise, which often means distancing herself from people who live for gossip, arguments, or attention-seeking behavior. To her, peace is priceless, and she's willing to walk away from anyone or anything that threatens it. This zero-tolerance approach to drama often leaves her on her own, but for a Sigma female, that's a small price to pay for the peace of mind she values above all else. Number 7. Most people cannot relate to the Sigma level of intellect. Most people struggle to relate to the way a Sigma female thinks because her level of intellect often operates on a completely different plane. She doesn't waste time with surface-level conversations or small talk. Her mind is constantly working, analyzing, and looking for deeper meaning in everything. While others might be content discussing the latest gossip or trends, she's more interested in exploring ideas, solving problems, and pursuing knowledge. This makes casual social interactions feel painfully dull for her, and it's why she rarely fits into traditional social circles. Most people simply can't keep up with her, and she knows it. It's not about being condescending or thinking she's better than everyone else. It's that her brain is wired to crave depth and challenge. So, when she finds herself surrounded by people who can't engage on that level, she naturally pulls back. She's not going to force herself to engage in conversations or situations that don't stimulate her intellect. It's exhausting for her to constantly dumb things down just to fit in, so instead, she often chooses solitude where her mind can roam freely without limitations. This intellectual disconnect leaves her isolated, not because she wants to be alone, but because finding people who can match her mental pace is a rare occurrence. Number 8. Fundamental loneliness. At the core of every Sigma female is a sense of fundamental loneliness that she has come to accept, even embrace. It's not the type of loneliness that stems from a lack of people around her. It's deeper, more existential. She feels like an outsider in most social settings, not because she can't interact, but because she rarely feels truly understood. Her thoughts, desires, and way of seeing the world don't align with the norms that most people accept. That disconnect creates a quiet, internal isolation that no amount of socializing or friendships can ever really fill. What sets her apart is that she doesn't fight this loneliness. She's learned to live with it. While most people spend their lives trying to escape being alone, the Sigma female faces it head-on and even thrives in it. She's not waiting for someone to come along and get her, because she knows that might never happen. Instead, she has developed a strong inner world, one where she finds comfort and purpose in her own company. This doesn't mean she's emotionless or doesn't crave connection at times. It just means she's accepted that her path in life is often a solitary one. It's a type of loneliness most people would find unbearable, but for her, it's simply the price of being true to who she is. Number 9. People are exhausting to them. People are exhausting to a Sigma female. For her, interacting with others often feels like a drain on her energy rather than a source of joy. Social rituals like small talk or obligatory gatherings can be emotionally taxing, because they require her to constantly engage in ways that don't align with her natural inclinations. While others might thrive in social settings or find energy in group dynamics, she finds herself depleting her own reserves just to navigate these interactions. This exhaustion comes from her need to maintain a facade of normalcy while her mind is elsewhere, analyzing, processing, or simply craving solitude. It's not that she dislikes people or doesn't appreciate meaningful connections. It's that the effort required to participate in everyday social interactions often feels like an interruption to her personal focus and peace. She'd rather spend her time in ways that genuinely interest her or contribute to her personal growth, rather than expending energy on social conventions that feel pointless. As a result, she keeps her circle small and her interactions limited, not out of malice, but to preserve her own mental and emotional well-being. For a Sigma female, avoiding the exhaustion of social demands is a crucial part of maintaining her equilibrium. In exploring why Sigma females often find themselves alone, we uncover a profound truth about their unique approach to life. Their independence isn't a sign of loneliness, but a testament to their deep self-awareness and strong personal values. They choose solitude over superficial connections, value their privacy fiercely, and remain steadfast in avoiding unnecessary drama. Their intellectual depth and acceptance of fundamental loneliness highlight a distinct path that sets them apart from the norm. While their way of life might seem isolating to some, it's a deliberate choice that allows them to thrive on their own terms. Understanding these facets of Sigma females reveals not just their complexities, but also the strength and clarity behind their solitary existence. If you found these insights into Sigma females fascinating and want to dive deeper into similar topics, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more exceptional content your way. Hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more thought-provoking videos.